Holiday sales are temporary, but they don't have to. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 things you can do to make your sales continue even after holiday is over. A lot of people get so hung up on all these sales that it's as if we all developed amnesia. I get so much of these comments before holiday season saying, Vlad, my sales are not happening. It's almost drying out. Etsy's dead. And it's as if those comments disappeared during Q4. It's as if everything's solved now. I think my Etsy shop is now good, without realizing that you're going to come back to where you started. But what if I told you there are things you can do to, when you come back off of that holiday sales, off of that holiday season, your sales actually don't repeat what they did before holiday started. A lot of times people focus on sales and money, but they miss the real value of holiday season. And if you don't want to run advertisement, this is especially important for you. Now, every single Etsy shop that I've ever opened in the past, for the past 7 years, I've utilized this strategy. And this strategy works even better during the holiday season. Now, I run advertisements as fast as possible. You guys know that. If you've been following my channel for, however long, you know that I'm a big sucker for advertisement. And now I usually sell products that do well. And that's why when I advertise, it's actually profitable. A lot of people get comments down in the comments saying, yeah, advertisement never worked. I turned it on and I lost all my money. This video sucks. But the reality, there's a lot of times their product is just not the product you want to sell. So your struggle is happening not because you're advertising or not. And I always say the advertisement is not the first thing you got to throw out the window. You maybe got to change your listing or your product itself. But I always turn on advertisement when I just open up my Etsy shop. So let me kind of take you through the timeline of how I open up an Etsy shop. Just a quick and dirty timeline. When I open up an Etsy shop, the first thing I usually do is create as much listings as possible. So I research the keywords, I get a big list, and I usually send it to a graphic designer overseas, and I say, hey, I need these designs, give me 100 designs of this is the list. And usually there's 100 different keywords, and I say, make a design for each of these. They send it over to me, and I just start posting it, applying onto mockups, posting it on Etsy, and try to get as much listings as possible. Now, the theory that you need to get 100 listings in order to get anywhere is true and not true. If you have a horrible product or a product that doesn't sell well or has high competition or not really in demand and you're going to apply this strategy, it's not going to work. But if you have a product that is in demand, but it's also in demand with, a lot of different variations, this strategy is going to work. By the way, if you're interested in selling that kind of product, check out the link in the description below, because we are keeping the doors open during the holiday season for that program to have you join our seller program. So anyways, I put as much listings as possible. Now, Etsy usually lets you advertise, 2 or 3 weeks later after the time you opened. And then I try to advertise as fast as possible, or when I work with somebody, I recommend to them to run advertisement as soon as Etsy allows you to. And not only that, but Etsy starts off with $20, and the more listings you add, the more, it's going to give you more opportunity to advertise, which means it'll go from $20 to $50 to $100 to $500 and then $1,000. And so I always check daily to see if Etsy gives me the option to increase my daily budget. And so I keep increasing that daily budget, and I keep increasing it. And I continue to add listings, keep increasing the daily budget. That's the simple formula that I've been using. Now, again, all of this is important if you've had the right product, okay? So this is how I've been doing for the past 7 years. And the reason why I do that is because my objective is not sales, it's not money or profit, it is traffic. Traffic gives you data. And if you've been following this channel, you know that I'm a sucker for data. Data is the central currency of any e-commerce store that exists on an algorithm. Algorithm is a computer. Computer only knows data. And if you're not feeding it data, the computer doesn't know who you are. So that's why when people say I don't advertise because it takes all my money, well, my return argument to that would be, well, you're not selling on an algorithm. You're not selling on Etsy. You're just posted for people to see your profile. But if you want to actually start to sell, play the game of the marketplace, you gotta figure out a way to get data. Now, sure, maybe you're not as profitable because you have a very niche product or maybe a t-shirt brand. Well, then start a personal brand on a social media and bring the traffic here. But ultimately, you gotta play the game of a seller, somebody that is selling a merchandise. You're a merchant. And so when you're selling on an algorithm, the currency is data. And so for me, the objective is create as many variation of listings as possible and then get as much data coming into each of those listings that I just created to hundreds or 200s of listings. I want data to be flooded into those listings, and then it's going to start to move my Etsy shop in the direction that I want it to. And that's why I say that 100 listings, well, that's true and not true, but it's not true if you're not bringing in data to those listings. And if it's true, if you're starting to feed those 100 listings with data, guess what? You are going to see a big difference in your Etsy business. So now this is just general. Now I'm going to talk about the 3 things you need to do during the holiday season, because that's why you're watching this video. If you're not advertising, this is so important, especially holiday season is an increase in traffic, right? And the more of that traffic you can come to come to your Etsy shop, the more of that traffic that is going to be really benefiting you long term. For example, if you have a click-through rate of 5% and you have 1,000 people that saw your listing, that just scrolled past your listing, 50 people are going to actually click on your listings. Guess what? There are 50 people that has given you the data. They've played around with your listings, and now that data is now fed to the algorithm. Now, when the holiday season is over, guess what? Any kind of person that matches a general criteria of those 50 people, your listing is going to rank for them if they're looking to a product anywhere similar to that. And it's just those lookalike customers that are going to really make your sales after holiday is over. So this is really important that you really utilize this traffic, because it's going to feed your Etsy shop. So if you're not advertising, this is especially important for you. Now, I do several things. I advertise and I discount my products so I can get that data to higher, to more data. Now, the 3 things that I do, the first one is click-through rate. The click-through rate is really important, because if I have 1,000 people scroll past my listing and my click-through rate goes from 5 to 10% or even 5 to 8%, that goes from 50 people to 80 people. And it's an additional 30 people that might add another variable to that might, maybe 50 people were men and the next 30 people were women. That's a whole category that I would have missed out if I didn't get that extra 30 people. Now, I'm talking very specific, and things are not as specific. But my point is that you want to get as much of those sellers as possible. You want to get a bigger net, a net that is more sticky. But also, the second thing, you want to get a wider net. Okay, so bigger net, meaning improve your click-through rate. So, by the way, click-through rate, thumbnail is so important. Sometimes what I do is I actually change out my thumbnail for like a holiday type thumbnail. This doesn't mess with your algorithm. Don't change your title, but it's okay to change your thumbnail. Also, add a video. When they hover over your listing, if there's a video playing, that's awesome. Do that. This is really important. Also, another thing that's really important is when you create a thumbnail, you have to understand that your listing is not going to be ranked on just Etsy. It'll always also be on Google. It'll also be in messages. So there's a thumb only experience, or a thumbnail only experience, that a lot of your customers are going to have. So if you can sell your listing at thumbnail and at thumbnail only, then you're going to have a much better success with your click-through rate. Now, what I decided to do, even with my thumbnail, is make it as simple as possible so that they know exactly what they're going to get, so that they're basically communicated the exact thing that they're going to get, but then also make it really nice so that the excitement increases, right? Increase excitement, simplify the listing or the thumbnail. The second thing you want to do is improve conversion rate or increase sale velocity. Those are two, they kind of work together, but this is really important. So sale velocity, I have opened up, like I said, dozens of Etsy shops, both for myself, and I work, I manufacture for other Etsy shops with our seller program, and I see this trend again and again and again. People that have momentum that they're starting to pick up, usually people that advertise, are going to have a much faster growth, even on the direction of their growth, than people that don't advertise, or maybe people that advertise that might not have a good quality listing. Their momentum never picks up. It's not the same trend. If you were to graph it like this, the other person is not going to grow. They're actually going to be flatlined. So momentum or sale velocity is actually very critical. Now, it has a lot to do with conversion rate, but that's something you need to understand. What I started doing, and this is specific to my product. If you have 2 or 3 products stacked, for example, we do dog collars, and there's 3 dog collars. In the variation, I actually say top collar, design 1, top collar, design 2, mid collar, design 3, bottom collar. Why? Because I want them to make the purchase as fast as possible so that I can get that customer. If you can improve your conversion rate, simplify your listing so that customer can get everything they need, maybe a thumbnail. Now, some of them will go through your photos, but a lot of people only look at the thumbnail. So maybe a thumbnail, convert them maybe a thumbnail with the variation properly positioned. They're going to get everything they need without having to do anything else. Second, if you have anything in your description that is very important for a customer to buy your product, you want to sell the quality, have it in your photos. Put all that information in the photos. They're going to slide through the photos anyways. Might as well communicate to them. They should never have to click that little button on the app to open up more description. Nobody reads that. So put everything in that. So things like that is something that you need to do. By the way, we talk about this on this channel, so make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification. By the way, if you've been liking this video so far, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Now, first, we click-through rate. Thumbnail. This is so important. Now, obviously, you have a good product. If your product sucks, no matter what you do, your conversion rate is going to suck. So if you need to add a leather patch, if you need to add a personalization, if you need to add whatever your competitors might not have, that is going to improve fundamentally your click-through rate. So that's the first thing you need to think about. But thumbnail is so important. If you're selling a product that's really hard to really change anything, thumbnail is going to have to be your play. Second, sale velocity by focusing on conversion rate. Whatever you need to do to maybe a thumbnail and a simple variation, you're good to go. This is what you would want to focus on. So those two. The third thing. So remember, we said we want a stronger net to get as much as possible. So that might include click-through rate and conversion rate, a really good net, but you want a wider net. Okay, this is very important. So I continue to add listings that are not holiday listings. A lot of people get so focused on holiday listings, but I'm thinking Valentine's going to be right after. Let me put some heart stuff. Hey, summer's coming up. Let me put some beach vibes, right? You're adding listings so that traffic, people that live at the, on islands or people that live at the shore, they're more likely to buy a beach vibe type of product. Then you're going to have more of those people clicking on your listing so that when summer does come, people that are like that are interested in beach vibes, I'm going to be ranking for those people. So adding listings and fueling each and every listings with this traffic that's coming in is going to be a really good strategy for you to be able to really continue the momentum after the holiday season is over. Now, I also do things like I discount. Profitability is not as important for me as volume because I'm going to make all that money back later down the road. Now, I still make money. I'm still profitable, but I'm not so focused on profitability. I'm more focused on that data because that data is going to continue to give you sales after holiday season is over. And this is really important. By the way, side note, when holiday season is over, a lot of times people, when they get something, they either return the thing and they come back to Etsy to buy something else, which this is why there's still traffic even when holiday season is over, or they got something for their for Christmas that, oh, you know what also works well with this? If we get another this, or hey, I'm gonna totally get something for this thing that you've given me, and people come to Etsy to buy stuff for the gift that they got, whether they got a dog for Christmas and they're going to start to get dog products after. So stuff like that, you got to really be mindful. Just a little side candy for you. So getting that traffic to your Etsy shop really will retarget a lot of activity that will happen after the holiday season. It'll retarget a lot of lookalike audience that finally came to Etsy and finally taken a look at your Etsy listings. So hopefully this video was useful. If it was, leave that thumb. And if you want to check out that video, it's probably super important. If the algorithm said this is important, it's probably important. You should probably listen to the algorithm. It knows.